Hi, I'm Gabe Fitzpatrick and I work with the Foundational Questions Institute. As you may or may not know, FQXi had an essay competition last year that asked the question, how quantum is life? The prize pot was a total of $53,000 and there were a total of 8 winners. Today, you're going to hear from someone who won the Undergraduate Special Prize.
My name is Gabriela. I'm 20 years old. I recently graduated from my undergrad degree. I studied science and technology at Ilum School of Science. It's a new university in Brazil. Every year they select 40 students to a fully funded undergraduate degree, and there we learn a bunch of stuff, including physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, and computer science. So by itself, it's a very interdisciplinary degree, and I guess that relates a lot to the fact that I'm always interested in learning those fields that involve more than one subject. The way I was brought up in science is the way to think that scientists should understand each other. And by that, we say like physicists and biologists should hold a conversation where both sides understand each other, because that's important for the progress of science. Like those limits of science we establish as humans, those aren't real. Like there's no such thing as like only mathematics, only physics, only biology. It's all connected. So why not have scientists that can hold this conversation?
Gabriela's essay is a history of quantum biology. She traces the field decade by decade through the key experiments that brought it into existence. But the history is in service of an argument. She proposes a concept she calls the quantum of biology, the minimum set of quantum resources a living system must generate or protect in order to gain an evolutionary advantage. And she closes with 3 specific experiments that she believes could test it.
I think my essay is this historical question that is fooling a new field in science. Quantum biology is a really new field. There is not a lot of people working on it, but it's also a historical question posed decades ago. Like if you think about it, Schrödinger wrote a book, a short text, to be honest. It's called What is Life?
What is Life is a short 1944 book by Erwin Schrödinger. It grew out of a series of lectures he gave at Trinity College Dublin. He argued that the rules of quantum mechanics underlie the workings of life itself.
So the question posed by this field is old, it's decades old, but we still haven't got many answers. So my essay tries to tell this story from the beginning with names and facts and dates.
You sort of trace the history.
Exactly.
And go from all the way back to sort of a 1932 lecture from Niels Bohr. And what made you sort of want to tell the story historically rather than just jumping into the science?
Oh, that's interesting. I think that kind of relates to a very personal thing about me. I was a very curious child and I asked a lot of questions, and something that really made me curious is that like I have a phone right there in front of me. It looks like magic and I wonder, okay, this is magic, but humans made this. How is that possible? How smart you have to be to build such thing? And the way I can call myself with all these questions is actually trying to trace the whole story from the beginning. I won't be able to code it, but I stand in the shoulders of giants, like the Isaac Newton code, meaning that for something to evolve and for someone to create something, you have to have a backstory. And I like to tell stories this way, from the beginning, not to the end, but like from the beginning to where we are today, because by that, people can understand how things develop. And this kind of creates a more like logical and less magical way science works. And it's also, to me, is really motivating because you can understand, okay, this person did that because in their context that made sense. And then that's very comforting for me.
Did you sort of know when you looked at the obviously the question, how quantum is life, did you have an immediate reaction where you're like, I know what I'm going to write? Or did you think about it first?
No, I had to think about it a lot. Like I haven't actually contributed to quantum biology like during my own research. So the historical perspective was a way that I could do it from my home, just reading a lot. And also one of my main ideas from the essay is try to trace both history of the quantum biology field and the history of quantum biology itself. So like how did the quantum effects emerge in life? So I think that's a very important question to ask when you're asking about how quantum is life.
I think your essay had a real storytelling quality to it. It read almost to me like a detective story through like the history of science kind of. Did you have fun writing it?
Yeah, of course. There are some things I wanted to write, but I kind of like thought to myself, well, that's maybe not right now because I have to keep track of only one story because I'm the type of person that gets into loopholes on Wikipedia. And when I'm reading a lot, I want to write a lot. When you're writing that much, you connect so many ideas and so many fun facts that I just love. So I have tons of fun when I'm writing.
Gabriela's essay paints lovely pictures of historical scientific events, and I felt like I had to ask her if she was able to travel back in time, what event would she have liked to have been at in person?
I really like Bohr's biography in general. Like he has a very interesting life story. His Light and Life lecture. That was the lecture, and that's something that I tried to connect in the middle of the text and at the end of the text that Max Delbrück was present at the lecture, and he was like by training a physicist, but because of Bohr's lecture, he transitioned and he tried to look at biology with a physicist perspective. So that was really interesting. So I would be at Light and Life from Niels Bohr.
You mentioned several examples of where sort of quantum effects show up in biology. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, we have like today a bunch of examples. Like recently I was reading the essays from the winners of the competition and it's very interesting. There is one about dermatology, so the study of skin, and it's
What
not
Gabrielle is referencing here is the joint first place essay by Samuel Morris titled How Quantum is the Skin, a clinician's perspective on life at the nanoscale.
and it's such an interesting text. I really recommend reading. But like the more classical ones, for example, is like photosynthesis. The one I really enjoy is enzyme catalysis. It's about quantum tunneling because enzymes are these molecular machines that make reactions work faster. And what quantum biology argues for is that it uses quantum tunneling to accelerate those reactions. It's such an interesting idea, and also a very classical one, magnetoreception, meaning that birds use the magnetic field from the earth to locate themselves.
Something Gabriella had said earlier had stuck in my mind.
You said earlier that one of the reasons to think about things historically is, looking at your phone and seeing how magical it seems and appears. You talk about sort of how birds might use quantum mechanics in navigation. And I'm wondering now if you sort of look at birds slightly differently.
Oh, they are still magical to me. I have a big window for my bedroom and I love to watch the birds. I think being a scientist sometimes makes people more skeptical, but the world is such a magical place.
The world is indeed a magical place, but she also thinks it's important to remember that
Researchers are not magicians and they are not necessarily like those genius and untouchable figures. That's not the case. Like science is made by real people and it advances by the context of each one's lives. I guess this is very important when like young people are trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. My upbringing is in Brazil. So in Brazil, being a scientist is not a common career at all. I would think to myself, well, I'll never be able to do anything like this.
So how did it feel when you found out that you won a prize?
It was such a big surprise. Like I actually didn't expect it because there were so many very interesting essays and mine was only like a historical perspective. It didn't have anything new. Like if you can search a lot and if you can read a lot, you can gather the same information as I did. I wasn't expecting it and it really surprised me in the best way possible.